The second company that's going to come up and pitch, InvisaWear, is a Boston-based company. And it's one of those products that we were both excited and saddened to hear about, because it's a fantastic product. It's great to hear that it exists. It's very sad that it has to exist. They produce SOS jewelry, and discreet SOS jewelry that will alert your loved ones that something is going on. So going to have them introduce the product, introduce the company. Let's welcome Raja and Ray to the stage. Thank you.
3 years ago, I was walking back to my car when a car full of guys started following me. They rolled down the window. One of them started yelling inappropriate comments. The car stopped, and one of them started to get out. Although I had my phone with me, there wasn't enough time to call for help. I ran as fast as I could, and luckily, I got to my car in time, and I wasn't hurt. Unfortunately, millions of other women can't say the same. Every 90 seconds in the United States, someone is attacked. Out of the 157 million women living here today, statistics show that 1 out of every 5 of them will be sexually assaulted at some point in her lifetime. This is highly, highly unacceptable and needs to change. This is the exact reason why we created InvisaWear.
Now, InvisaWear is smart, beautiful jewelry with hidden safety technology inside. It's disguised as devices that people wear every day, such as necklaces, bracelets, keychains, anything stylish people already like to wear on their bodies. If they ever find themselves in a situation where they need help, all they need to do is double-click on the back side, and that will instantly send a text to 5 people of their choice with the link to their GPS location. And there's also a free and optional 911 feature that can contact 911. The setup is super simple and hassle-free. All you need to do is download the free app after you get the product. You can set it up with your 5 contacts, so you can choose friends, family, colleagues, whatever you'd like. And then you just pair it once to your phone using Bluetooth. After that, it just runs in the background. You never have to worry about it again. If you ever find yourself in a situation where you need help, all you simply have to do is double-click on the back side, and that will send out this text message that says you need help. All of your contacts can click the link, see exactly where you are on a Google map, and our emergency response can also connect your emergency contacts directly with 911 closest to where you are, shares your location anywhere in the United States, and we're also launching international coming soon.
When we first started the company, we had originally thought that our strongest market segment was going to be young college-aged women like myself who walk late at night after classes. Unfortunately, late at night these days is 4 or 5 p.m. right after classes because of how dark it gets. But we were actually very surprised. We'd get up and we'd be at pitch events like this and we'd say, oh, this is a product designed for young college-aged women. And we would get mobbed by other women who would come up to us and say, well, why is it only for college-aged women? I'm a nurse or a doctor. I walk outside late at night and I feel very uncomfortable. I've been followed. We had senior citizens like my 80-year-old grandmother who'd say, well, I'm always worried about falling, but I don't want to wear one of those big, ugly panic buttons. I'd rather fall and not be able to get up than to wear one of those ugly panic buttons. We even have realtors who are showing homes to strangers and runners who unfortunately see the news and worry about their safety because of all the sad incidences that have been going on. InvisaWear is really for any woman or man who wants to protect themselves. We actually just recently launched a black unisex keychain, and we launched it specifically because we had so many men reaching out on a weekly basis asking, hey, I feel uncomfortable too sometimes. Can I get something for me as well? InvisaWear is part of the smart personal safety and security devices industry. The industry is currently valued at $20.8 billion globally, and it's growing at a healthy 8% compound annual growth rate. With businesses, it's always very important to remain focused. Although we do have a variety of different audiences, we've chosen to first begin by focusing on the real estate market. The reason we've been doing that is because it's one of the most dangerous professions, and unfortunately there's been so many notable cases of assault that have caused widespread fear in that industry. But the second reason, and the more important reason as to why we've started focusing on that market, is because they're in that age where they've got daughters who are in college and parents who are seniors. So we sell 2 or 3 units versus 1 to that market segment. Like Ray said, we're also in the process of releasing a free update to the app that will allow it to work internationally. Unfortunately, a lot more countries outside of the United States are so much more dangerous. My parents are both from Egypt, and man or woman, you can't walk outside there without being worried about your safety and being worried that somebody is gonna steal your car or kidnap you and steal your organs. It's super sad.
So all of the products that are currently on the market, most of them, like Raja mentioned, they're big, bulky panic buttons. They're not really disguised as jewelry. So for someone who's a college-age student or women, they don't want to wear those big, bulky panic buttons. Another reason is they don't have the contact 911 feature. That's one of our biggest differentiators that all of our customers love, is our ability to contact 911. We also don't charge any monthly fees or subscriptions. Typically, you're paying a service for someone to sit in a call center 24/7, and they're just waiting to call 911 for you on your behalf. Our proprietary technology can connect directly with 911, so you don't have to pay those monthly service fees, which many of our customers love. The only other one that is jewelry is NIM ring. However, it is bulky and it can contrast with other types of jewelry, so many people don't really love to wear them. We also try to consider Apple Watch just because we don't consider them a direct competitor because they're not specifically for safety. Most people buy an Apple Watch for multi-purpose use if they're doing fitness tracking, other types of things. Many of our customers actually have an Apple Watch, so we find that they love the security of our piece. It's designed specifically for your safety, so you know that it's reliable. So that's why we put them in there. However, we don't consider them a direct competitor.
Yeah, going back actually to the story I just shared with you. So when I was back in my car, thankfully safe, the first thought that crossed my mind was I'm going to buy a safety device for myself and every single woman I care about in my life, and I don't care how much that safety device costs. And as I was looking online, everything was a big ugly panic button similar to Roar. And I remember looking at Ray and saying, Ray, this doesn't even make sense. My grandmother just turned 80 and we can't even get her to wear an ugly panic button. Why are all these companies trying to market them to young women or any woman at all? So we started the company because none of the other competitive solutions out there worked for us or our families or the customers that we were talking to as well. We're very excited. We had our first patent get approved not too long ago, and we have a second one that's about to get approved. One of the parts of coverages that we are covering is how our proprietary technology works directly with 911 without forcing you to pay high monthly fees or subscriptions.
And we started out 3 years ago. We were in development for about 2 years. We initially launched our go-to-market strategy by launching a crowdfunding campaign on Indiegogo. We set a goal for $20,000, which we were able to meet in less than a week, and we ended up doing double our goal by the end of the campaign, which we were very excited about. We were also one of the very few campaigns that met our deadline for when we were going to ship all our products. So we shipped all of our products on time within 6 months. We've been on the market for about a year now, and we're very excited. We've saved 5 lives this past year, so we're excited to keep going. Thank you so much. And right now we've been doing a lot of, most of our techniques are with branding, so we find that we don't like to scare people into buying our products to make them think that, oh, if you don't have this, you're gonna get attacked. So if you look online on our social media, all of our branding is about positivity, and that's what we find our customers love. We do social media advertising, influencer marketing, email marketing. We have a blog, press outreach. Most of our success has actually been through organic press. One of the stories where we had saved someone's life, it was local. It was actually featured on 3 different news channels in Boston, and that we've just blown up after that. So press is amazing for us, and we're trying to grow. And to scale, we're really trying to find different types of partners. So jewelry partners, someone who is like Alex and Ani or Pandora, we'd love to partner with them, create a custom piece, and they could design it, and then we could put our technology inside, sell it to their existing customers. Another great partner for us could be a security contractor, so someone like ADT. They are already selling to safety-conscious people, protecting your homes. What about protecting your family when you're not at home? So that'd be another great partner for us as we scale.
Yeah, exactly like Ray said. In terms of growth and scaling, we've also planning on getting a lot of national exposure. So last week we were on the front page of Good Morning America, which was a super exciting opportunity for us. And we've been featured on ABC, CBS, WBZ, so we're hoping to continue that national exposure and getting a lot of organic sales. Of course, growing will involve our international release. That'll get us a lot more exposure as well organically. On average, we get between 1 to 3 inquiries of people finding us from other countries who are begging, hey, can you please ship to us? How can we buy this product? We're willing to pay $300 or $400 versus what the product retails for $100. Like Ray said, big partnerships, and one of the biggest things that's extremely important for us is continuing to innovate and create new products. We get a lot of requests for some special items that we'll talk about more in the future. We have an incredible team. My background, I have a dual degree in electrical engineering and computer science. Fun fact, I actually declined an opportunity with Google to work on InvisaWear full time. It was very hard to turn down because it was a 6-figure opportunity, but I just felt like I had a moral obligation to do something and to help decrease these awful statistics. Ray's got an incredible background as well. He specializes in firmware and hardware, and he was at Dell before he joined InvisaWear, started InvisaWear, I should say. We have 5 other wonderful team members who each have plenty of experience in their fields. Christina does sales, Kim does marketing, Scott does finance. Noel, he helps us with strategy, but he actually sold a successful safety device company in the past. So he had a personal safety devices company where it was a panic button and it got acquired for an undisclosed amount. So, so he helps advise us. And then Kareem helps with operations. We also have an incredible mentor team who each has 20 to 30 years of experience in their industry.
So one of them, Louis Pedrosa, he's been a mentor to us since the very beginning. He's actually the president of the manufacturing facility that we use. So all of InvisaWear products are actually made right here in Massachusetts, so we're very proud of that. And he's been able to give us a lot of advice and guidance on being able to scale both manufacturing-wise and also business-wise. We also have great legal advice, so we were able to get our patent approved. We filed for a continuation patent, so we've got other ideas that we plan to launch in the future, and then other mentors that help us with strategy, marketing, and business as we continue to grow.
We're super proud of our reviews. We've got over 100 5-star reviews on our website alone. And like Ray said, we know of 5 lives that we've helped save. One of them was a young woman who was involved in a serious car accident. Her car had hit some black ice and it spun out of control. She was stuck in the car and her phone got thrown in the crash and she couldn't find it, like most car accidents. She had remembered that she had a gold flower keychain in her pocket that her aunt had gifted her just 1 week prior. When she called our company, she said that she was lying on the ground saying, "Dear God, please, please let this help. Please let it get me help." And when she double pressed it, it immediately texted her family. Her dad was the first to get the message. He saw the location on the highway, and he knew immediately that this must be some sort of car accident. He answered our phone call and spoke to 911, and they were able to get her the help she needed within minutes, and she was able to make a full recovery. We also helped a senior who fell and couldn't get up. She called the company and said, "Thank you, because I wouldn't have been caught dead wearing one of the ugly buttons on the market." Just last week, actually, we found out we helped a woman who had a medical emergency. She had a pancreatic attack. We also helped a woman who was assaulted. She didn't feel yet comfortable explaining exactly what happened, but she sent a message saying, "Thank you for saving my life. Yesterday I was attacked and I was able to use your device to get help. I'm not yet ready to share exactly what happened, but when I am, I would really like to tell you more." So those are some of the various people we've already been able to help, and we're hoping to be able to help even more people. We have very healthy margins, between 60 to 80% per SKU. We previously raised $750,000 in our first round. Some of that was convertible notes, some of it was loans. We're now raising a $3 million round to help us fund big partners, increase our team, and spend on marketing. We really believe that we can one day become a $100 million company. We have seen other jewelry companies, for example, Alex and Ani, they're an $800 million company. And so are other companies like Ring, for example, who just got acquired by Amazon for $1 billion. If you watch their QVC pitch in which they sold 100,000 units, it was almost identical to InvisaWear's hopefully future QVC pitch, because it was aiming to protect your loved ones. Investors always ask, what are our exit options? How do they make their money back? There's a few different ways, and one of the ways that we think is most viable would be an acquisition. Somebody like Amazon, like I just mentioned, acquired 2 companies in the safety space, Ring for $1 billion in Blink Security. We actually have a special relationship with Amazon. We're a part of their exclusives program. So they had reached out to us and said they want to make friends with some of the new guys in this space. So excited to tell you more about that if you have any questions, but we know time's up and I wanted to leave you with enough time. So thank you to everyone for listening to our pitch. We really appreciate it, and we look forward to answering your questions.
Thank you. Well, thank you both for that amazing presentation. I have many, many questions, but I could take up the whole 15 minutes. So first, let me just give some feedback. I think your deck is outstanding.
Thank you so much.
The marketing is clean. The branding is clear. I really understand what you're trying to do, beyond just the fact that the name is great.
Thank you.
Your narrative is really strong. You have a clear idea of who you are helping today, who you can help. I noticed that you had an option for kids. That was where my head was going, is how can we scale? Because right now it's one product. It has different chains, but it's still one product. So I think being really clear about what the scalability of this singular product is. I went on your website before and noticed that it does. I think on your comparison slide, you had that yours is designed for, it's designed for 1 year. I think it would behoove you to include the replacement cost in your deck, just to put it up front.
Yeah.
But it doesn't put you out of the space, because I did a little math, and if at $129 retail plus $65 a year replacement cost for the battery, initially you go, oh my God, I have to pay 50% for every other year. But it breaks down to $650 a month for 5 years.
Exactly.
So $650 a month for personal protection is a price I'm willing to pay, but I would not make that leap on my own. I'd get sticker shock. So I do think really, if you're, depending on who you're presenting to, just making sure that you address the fact that it is a 1 year, because you're gonna get that question, is how long does it last? What's your failure rate? And how many of these do you have to replace? Where does that come out of your pocket? So being able to articulate that, I think, strengthens your presentation, not diminishes it.
Thank you so much.
You're right in the right market in this, post, and I'm reticent to use the word post, but the Me Too era. Great connection to what this can do. And I love that you said you don't want to scare people. I think that's a cheap trick. When you scare people into buying things, that tells me there's not enough value behind what you're really presenting. You avoid that intentionally, and so kudos to you.
Thank you.
Loved your data, loved your numbers, would like to know more. I think you glossed over that a little quickly for an investor presentation. I want to see where my money's going. I'm glad you gave me my exit strategy, but I do want to see how you're investing the money, because so far so good, but where is it going next?
Thank you so much.
thank you.
Absolutely. And we're more than happy to take the conversation offline as well and dig more into financials. We didn't want to share everything publicly, so that's why we kind of glossed over it. But I love your feedback. Thank you so much.
thank you.
It means a lot to us as well that you looked up the product. And thank you. Any other questions or feedback as well? We appreciate the feedback
I
too.
was really impressed. I mean, you're able to articulate the use case, and people immediately understand. Okay, great. This is a wonderful product. It's timely. It speaks to a human fear without evoking that fear. I mean, you can say just high level what it is, and everybody knows what you're talking about. Interesting to see that you can make it for $48.50. I mean, I think people can understand this is a good product. It's well timed. If you think about, cheap analogy, but like Brita water filters, they tell you when they need to be changed.
Right.
This little device, I don't see a little light that says, hey, your 12 months is coming up here. So
The app actually
app sends you
notifies,
got it.
So
Okay.
the app tells you when it's time to replace the charm. And we actually are in the process of launching some higher end charms that have higher retail values. So some of our customers actually love the battery, like you said. So it's designed to last a year, because when we did our market discovery and we spoke to people, people's biggest concerns was that their safety device is going to be out of battery because they forgot to charge it. But they were also worried that they would forget to change the battery. So they were saying if they could replace it and get a different look after a year, they'd be willing to pay money for it. So that's kind of one of the reasons we did that. So that's kind of how we remind them.
And then the last point is really around barriers to entry. I mean, you mentioned you got your patent, which is wonderful. It's great that you have a patent and that there's some degree of protection, but it's really hard to imagine that there's a product patent out there that stops other people from going directly to 911. Like, really? Like, I can't go directly to 911 unless I have a mobile phone subscription? I mean, it seems like you can't block people and you can't block companies from offering a service of going directly to 911. So, the skeptic in me was kind of saying like, this might be easier to copy than the plan purports. So,
Thank you. And to answer that question a little bit, there's a lot of laws and regulations around how you can connect to 911. So what our proprietary technology does is that we have a partnership with a company that makes all the software on the 911 dispatcher centers. So our technology routes you to the correct 911 dispatch center, and it shows all of the additional information, like your first name, last name, medical conditions on their screen. So that's kind of what the patent covers versus just contacting 911. But thank you so much. It's wonderful feedback.
Fantastic. You may have may reunite with Google at some point. Turn them down now. I think you're aware they made a large purchase with Fitbit just in the last couple of weeks. And so wearables, I think, is a hot topic. My questions really are more along the lines of sort of how does it sort of work, right? So one question is, how do you handle false alarms? You have a baby and you're holding a baby or a kid and they grab it and hit buttons. They like to grab things.
Right.
Sort of what happens when that's triggered.
Sure.
And kind of understanding what happens there. The other thing I think is somewhat of an issue that I'm having with this is that because it's not an audible sort of alert, the attacker doesn't know that someone has been contacted and will more likely continue to assault, because they're not sort of shaken off by either alarm or a light or something like that. So you're still kind of vulnerable until someone shows up, which is my other question, which is what happens with 911 and the families? They know there's an alert. They don't know if it's a fire. They were able to guess the car accident, an attack. So you're kind of entering in unprepared, which is what our professional 911 police and fire do. But you're kind of going into a scene unknown. And so I think that's somewhat of a challenge as well. On the positive side, which I'm hoping that's positive feedback to make adjustments, I do believe there's a point for some higher end, Tiffany's, other sorts of things where you can really sort of charge a real premium for some of the jewelry. And I think they would love to incorporate something like that into their product line. And so I think that's phenomenal. I'm also concerned about data protection. who's alert and knows that I'm walking around and my wife is walking around somewhere, who has access to that, how is that encrypted and protected?
Absolutely.
Great
Thank you so
questions.
much.
Thank you.
So 3 questions. First one was accidentals, which is our favorite question. It's actually designed, I'll let each of the judges double press it as well if you'd like. It's a very firm double press, so it's not easy to accidentally activate. So just pushing it like this isn't. We actually have a lot of moms. So we have 10,000 devices on the market right now, and we only know of 1 accidental. So that kind of shows that accidentals are very rare. You're all welcome to double press
It's a
it as
rapid
well
double
if you would
click,
like.
but there's also an option to cancel it, so your phone, you'll start to get a phone call, so you have the option to cancel it in the app, and
Yeah.
that's customizable too. One of the other questions I think you had was about the attacker not knowing if an alert was sent out. There is a customizable feature. You can set it. If you'd like, it can start to play a loud alarm on your phone. So that's optional if the user wants to opt into that, but we don't force you. A lot of our customers love the discreetness of it. So to answer your question for that, a lot of our customers love that. Was there another question?
The third question was regarding what if the emergency contacts don't know what the situation is, and that's a great question. A lot of times emergency contacts don't know what the emergency situation is, so the 911 feature comes on by default, and we highly advise against people turning it off. The reason being, like you said, 911 dispatchers are the ones who are best prepared to respond to an emergency situation. So we connect emergency contacts with 911, and the emergency contact, when they're added, gets a link on how to respond during an emergency. What they're instructed is to tell the 911 dispatcher any information that they might know. So for example, my daughter's a college student, it's 6 p.m., this is about the time she leaves classes. Or my wife's a real estate agent, she was showing a property. Unfortunately, 90% of attacks happen nearby somebody that you know who could have helped you, who had some background information as to what you were doing. That information helps the police prepare into what they're going into, but it doesn't necessarily cover all situations, but 911 dispatchers kind of know that, okay, we know how to handle a situation even if we don't know what they fully are.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Thank you.